Well, hello there, and I do hope you're all well. Now, in this video, we're going to listen to an excerpt from James O'Brien, where he talks about the situation with people like Boris Johnson and Donald Trump, and he's basically asking what's the difference between Johnson and Trump, you know, with the egregious lying that they've done over the years. And he basically argued that the refusal of Boris Johnson supporters to even accept any of the Prime Minister's wrongdoing is just straight out of the Steve Bannon playbook. And when we talk about the apparent witch hunt that this privilege committee are apparently doing, which we know is just straight up nonsense from Nadine Dorries and the Daily Mail. Let's be honest, the Daily Mail should know better, but I think with that headline of enemies of the people, I think shows you where they're going down. But anyway, I've rabbited on enough, so let's listen to what the great James O'Brien has to say about this.
Why is Brexit going so badly? The deep state, a non-existent, mythical phenomenon designed to excuse Boris Johnson from being Boris Johnson, and to excuse Boris Johnson, the chief architect of Brexit, from the failings and failures of Brexit. And it's exactly what Nigel Farage has done this morning with Donald Trump. Donald Trump appointed the director of the FBI, and the FBI are now investigating him to the extent of raiding his home in pursuit of documents that he has taken from the White House. If you're following the January the 6th investigation, the scale of the corruption is absolutely off the page, off the planet.
I have to say I've watched a lot of them, and I've found them absolutely fascinating. I watched them, found a few streams, you know, they've done it live. Absolutely fascinating. And when it comes to the Alex Jones situation, from what I've heard, they've asked for them texts that his lawyer inadvertently gave the other lawyer in his case all his texts from 2 to 3 years. So, and he's quite willingly going to give them to the select committee. So that'll be interesting, won't it, as well?
But what do you do if you've hitched yourself to this bandwagon? How do you possibly excuse the fact that the fella you helped sell to the American people is absolutely bent? Answer, you need a new enemy. And that's why the deep state comes in. So the more I talk, the more I think I may not take any calls at all this hour because my dander is high. No, don't worry, I will. But the more I talk, the more I think, actually, the parallels between Trump and Johnson that we've been so reluctant to draw, so ashamed of perhaps on a patriotic level, I think they're very hard to deny now. What's the difference between Boris Johnson blaming the deep state for his own failings and failures and Nigel Farage blaming the deep state for Donald Trump's failings and failures? What's the difference? What's the difference between Johnson and Trump? 03456060973. Now we see their supporters desperate to avoid scrutiny. Nadine Dorries calling it a witch hunt. That's straight out of the Steve Bannon playbook. This is a wonderful opportunity, you might argue, for Boris Johnson to prove that he's absolutely squeaky clean, that he wasn't aware that he was deliberately misleading the House of Commons, except unfortunately the Daily Telegraph, which was paying him 250 grand a year for a column until about 20 minutes ago, the Daily Telegraph says it's found 3 people who were working in Downing Street at the time and who believe that the Prime Minister has misled MPs about what he knew about the lockdown breaking gatherings. Why are we putting up with this when I plan it out like this, and I am not using lefty, liberal establishment figures. I'm using the Daily Telegraph, who themselves are speaking to members of the Downing Street staff. And yet there's people still lapping it up and down this country. And Liz Truss is talking almost exclusively to them as she leads the field in the race to be our next Prime Minister.
Yeah, and I've long since thought that I'm not sure there is any difference. Both just lie as easily as breathing, don't they? And one of the calls he took when he talked about this this privilege committee, that apparently that now I heard, I'm sure it was Phil from Different Bias said that he might be forced to give evidence under oath. Now a caller rung up and said the exact same thing. Now James says, "Oh, I don't know about that. I'm usually abreast over this," but he said from what I've been hearing, that he will be told he will have to give evidence under oath. Now that'll be no, if that's true, no wonder he wants nothing to do with it, and no wonder his fans want him to have no part of it. Because trying to, if he's having to give evidence under oath, he'll be toast, because he cannot lie straight, can it? And it's the same with our Donny baby. He cannot lie straight in bed. But yeah, I've long since thought that these two are pretty much the same. I think Boris Johnson's just a bit more intelligent than him. I just think what lets him down is just lazy. Whereas I just think Donald Trump is just not that bright. And so I just thought it was a very, very, very interesting monologue. What do you think? Think there's no difference between the two, Boris Johnson and Donald Trump? Or do you think there is a difference? I'd like to know your opinions. It'd be very interesting. Right, I shall leave the video here, and until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care.